Hey guys, welcome back to today's video or live stream. Let's have a look what's happening in the world of the market today. Let me just test quickly and make sure everything's working fine. Let me see. Alright, so let's have a look. Okay, let's see what do we have here. I don't mind this line. Okay, so let's have a look where we are. Alright, so anything above this fair value gap that we've marked out is obviously bullish. We've managed to work our way into the top fair value gaps midpoint. So let's see. I mean, stuck between the two. So I'm going to pop down to a lower time frame and then we'll take a look from there. While I'm looking at all of this, let me look at something else quickly. Okay guys, remember tomorrow's NFP, so be careful today. Okay, so today there was unemployment claims at 8:30. Unemployment claims, let's see, 8:30 was, good grief, such a small candle. Alright, is what it is then. There's nothing to do right now. All I can say is there's some nice equal highs here. It's relatively equal. We've already digged into this. Let's just see something if there's any opening gaps here. Okay, so that was already filled. Not too much to worry about that. Yeah, I'm looking at this as EQH. All we got to do now is see. Let's just go to a 15-minute. So on the hourly, we're still bullish, but the problem is stuck between these two fair value gaps. Don't mind this line. These two fair value gaps. It's never a good place to trade in between those because you don't know which way we're going. But based on this one here, I think we're going to go higher, but for that we need to break through this fair value gap. And if you really look at it, there's some equal highs up here. EQH. Look, I don't know if we set up all this liquidity like up there. I don't know if this is for today or is it something that we keeping for NFP tomorrow. Let's just look at this quickly. Sorry, I'm just zooming in a bit. There's liquidity. I've already taken that liquidity there. There's some liquidity still down here. I've taken liquidity. There's liquidity up here as well. Alright, so I think for now I'm just gonna sit patiently and waiting here, because the closest thing I'm seeing right now is this equal highs up here, and not anything else that stands out. No, let's see. See how this range has formed, and now it's squeezing in between. I'm not following triangles or anything like that, but it just makes lower highs, higher lows. So it's almost you want to watch and see what price does when it runs these equal highs. Does it want to go higher? Then if that's the case, then we will target these ones. If it reverses, well then maybe something lower down here. Alright, it's a pretty bold move through those equal highs there. So I don't know if we're going to get a nice reversal type of thing, and we're closing above that, so we might run higher up into there. What level is this? 833. Thing with these markets that's just moving in one direction aggressively, it's I know a lot of people sometimes feel the fear of missing out and try to jump in, but sometimes it's a good thing not to jump in, but to wait for that thing to start giving you the reason to reverse, because then you've got a much bigger range to come back to follow, to fill. Okay, so we are now taking all of these liquidity here, so I'm probably thinking we will come to this level here. Let me just mark it out into this fair value gap, and the reason I say that is there's liquidity right there, that high. There's liquidity here. I mean, we've already, and we had a similar setup yesterday, guys, where in a trend like this there was equal highs forming, equal highs forming again. That would have been a nice target from here, but obviously just big candles here, so I don't know. I mean, I didn't take anything. Let's see. Right, so let's give it some time here. And have a look something quickly. Alright, so now we're going to see that consolidation before we see some push up. Okay, let's have a look. So I don't know if this is going to be, I mean, what we should do is this low here. So in this bottom, so we could see the test on these equal highs, because that's your discount if you want to go higher. And remember, we've got this equal highs now. There's more liquidity because we just stopped short of it, so we could expect something go lower into this equal highs again, because this red line here, I should actually change it to a different line. That's your 50%. So anything below this, that's where you want to buy. So you want to look at something below this level. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark it out so I can take this off. Alright, so like to see something in there. Right, there we go. Now we can have a look. Even this black candle, that should hold price if we want to go higher. Nice rejection there. So what we would do if it closed like this, I would look for a white candle to close above this line, then I'll target this fair value gap up here. But if we close lower, or this candle does not close above that, then it's fine, then I'm not taking it and I cancel that level. But this white candle's got to close above that. Okay, so all you got to do now is hopefully get like a retest. So I'm just going to change this to a 6. See if we can get this. Okay, so now you want to see a retest into that wick, and then you want to target up here. Let's leave it at that 2,400 mark. And there we go. 2,400 in the back quite quickly, and this weak test played out nicely, guys. It literally tested no drawdown, straight up in 1 minute, $2,400 in the back. Alright, why did I take that trade? So I took the swing point here, just to explain that again. And below the 50%, I mean, it was equal highs. This was a much bigger fair value gap. We tested that and rejected it. We were very clear to say, alright, the next candle, the very next candle's got to close above that wick, and that's normally an entry zone if you've got good conviction and liquidity to go towards to. And that is exactly what happened. Alright, so what we could do now is, because we could target those equal highs there, and you can mark out down here, so it's pretty deep, if that's what it is. So this should be some sort of a move that spikes through this fair value gap, maybe into this 50% level, if we really want to take it up to the next equal highs. But then again, we've got a fair value gap here and we're rejecting it. So you want to see price close above that, find support to push up there. But let's just have a look. If we in that 50 level that we've marked out, let's see how it behaves from there, if it spikes through it. Okay, so now it's actually pushing much deeper, which is fine. Remember, we're coming from a fair value gap. It's equal high still up here. I mean, testing of this wick again, or this body of this wick. I think the good thing about this trade is we saw the opportunity quite early, and it was done and dusted in literally 1 minute. Again, now we'll look for something close above here. If it does, then we could go back up there. But I'm not taking this one because of we right in the face of this fair value gap. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so obviously this valid's no, that level is no longer valid. Let's see what is gonna happen here. So obviously we've got this fair value gap here. So what I want to do, see if I can do this. Make this there. Alright, so you guys can see what's happening here, right? There's a high, there's some equal highs here, and maybe that's the one. I mean, I still think we can go to the other one. Let's just mark them all out. EQH. And then we've taken all this liquidity out into this fair value gap. And now it's leaving another high. So it's building up liquidity there. I mean, we could go for it today or maybe another day. And we are in the process now with this fair value gap. Running this low, just filling more of this gap. And yeah, I don't know if I'm confident enough to take any longs here. There's no equal lows here. If there were equal lows here, I would have said, oh, there's liquidity and it's probably going to go down. I think maybe it wants to create some sort of equal lows and then go back up. Just keep an eye and see what it does. And the hard thing about this is it's easy to trade if you can find the liquidities. If you don't see it, like, I mean, I can look at this and say there's a fair value gap that got inverted here and almost got tested, and now we're moving lower. What I can't tell you is where we're going to, because there's no, I mean, there's liquidity here, but it's not, doesn't stand out. This was nice equal highs, we went there. These were equal highs, we took it. These were equal highs, we took it. These were equal highs, we took it into this fair value gap with that high. But now looking at the downside, don't know what to tell you. I mean, if you really want to go short, that's a wick, but it's in a fair value gap, so you can't take that trade. Because we saw yesterday how it can snap against you quite quickly. Now we're inverting this fair value gap, right? Problem with me is, I mean, there's so many candles up and down before it came in here. So I don't know how strong this inversion is. And I don't really see strong momentum moving price to the downside yet. I mean, you could argue that this is a possible inversion setting up here if we close above that. And then if you know, in order to go to these highs up here, because you're trading out of a fair value gap, you invert another fair value gap, then theory, it should be bullish. See, we didn't close outside. So I'll just make it orange to see. Didn't close outside, so maybe we see push going lower. I mean, there you can see how it's holding that high pretty solidly, so that's obviously not an inversion. That's a normal fair value gap. What I will focus on now is this black candle to close below this white candle's low. The reason I would do that is I don't like the swing point that formed here, because that's a swing point. Because we ran the low and we didn't close, so it's not valid. I was just looking at a 50% of this fair value gap. Okay, so there's a swing point here. This is going to be a swing point or swing high. If we close below this high, if we then breaks higher, then you most probably want to see some sort of a test to go in a direction. Okay, so there we go, break through it. So now it looks like a low, a higher low, and then maybe the test in here for higher low to go higher. And then I don't know where we're going to go. Are we really going to go up here? Okay, so I'm taking that out. And I'll leave this in there. $130, $132, and I guess, you know, if you look at 930, this is actually the first fair value gap. So our purple one, and the reason it's purple, that's the very first fair value gap. I'm not looking at this one. There's no gaps, no gaps, no gaps. Then we get this gap. Now this gap can become support, resistance, to a lower move, and then come back later. Okay. Is it going to be one of those days? Maybe this is 10 o'clock reversal to send price up. And maybe this is what we're doing. We are creating liquidity like this. Then we want to go higher. the reason I say that is equal highs, then it's a low, a high, higher high, higher low. Expect to go higher high into that liquidity, higher low, and then some sort of reversal come back to run these liquidities. I think that's where we're going to go now, is to these equalize. See how we push through that fair value gap with that momentum. Just going to try this one, yeah. Right. Let's go for that first one. Look, we could see some sort of a retracement. The only reason I've entered here, it looks like there's strong momentum to push price higher. Because I think we want to go high before we want to come back. Break this high, go to those equal highs, and then come back. There's probably going to be some sort of a wick test here. Just missed me. So close, man. Okay, there we go. Second trade. And sometimes it's just these scalps. And there we go, off to those highs. Okay, so while it's doing its thing, let's just break it down quickly. So obviously we saw this low consolidation, high, higher low, then the expectancy was to go higher high before we go back to higher low. And the reason we entered there was momentum behind it through that fair value gap, a little bit of a drawdown, but eventually we got to those equal highs. Hope you guys taken something off there. Okay, so where can we see price go now from here? Taking all this liquidities. Just go to a 4 hour and see if there's something that stands out. Hide everything. So we still got these equal highs up here. I mean, we've got this high pretty much sideways if you really look at it, but we've got a lower, higher low, higher low. It was a low, a higher high, higher low. Missed that high because there's liquidity there. So maybe we see that push now up into these liquidity. Just mark it out. Or maybe that's for tomorrow, I don't know. Okay, I'm just moving that out of the way. So would have been nice to see some sort of a test here and then take the trade. I mean, we could target this top end here, so maybe this. Maybe this 850 or even top end, I don't know. I think we might come down lower, yeah. So what I'll do tonight or later today, guys, I'll do the PM session at just before 1:45. I'll come and have a look and see if we can do some scalp trades there, or maybe there's some good setup there for us to trade. See if this closes above this wick. See if we can get a test in that wick. But then the question is where to from here. Okay, there's the test. I'm not taking it because I don't have anything close here, a high or anything. Say where we going to. So this could quite easily just drop through and move lower. Exactly what I said. It's always good to have equal highs or equal lows close by, or any liquidity for the market to go into a direction. I mean, the market could quite easily come all the way down to this first fair value gap, the purple one, or just bounce from here. If it bounced from here, that high is a target, because then you want to see inducement to the top side before it wants to go down, or continuation to the top side. Now let's just keep an eye. Step away for a minute here. Okay, so now we're actually inverting this fair value gap. nice to see some sort of a test up here and then take it down lower. But again, we're not going to get that. So now you get it higher low, higher high, higher low. If we can get this back up there, that would be great. Not too worried about where we are here. Leave that. And this is how the liquidity forms. Now let's see how it reacts from here. Maybe it creates equal lows here and then bounce. So this move played out exactly the way we anticipated it, and we couldn't see any liquidity, and then we realized, oh, so we creating liquidity. So we tell people we go high, we come low, but we don't take it out, we go high. Now people, this is now a trend line. I've put my stop here, I put my stop there, I put my stop here. Now I want to see price going higher. That's a retail mindset. We're going for the opposite. We're waiting for these liquid. This is our target, these liquidity pools. Okay, now we're stuck between two fair value gaps. Remember up here I said we could come down to this fair value gap. That's where we are, and now we could invert this to go lower. I mean, something that's interesting to note. See how this order block lines up with that 50%. That's where we could go test if we want to go lower. When at 50% with our order block, that's solid line in defense. I think you can take it one step further and say, alright, where's 50% of this move? Right there. So actually let's try it and see if it works. See, people in the retail world sees this as hugely strong support on this trend line, and this could now burst up and come down and then entice everybody to go higher and then come all the way down, or it can just drop from here. Doesn't always have to work the way we see it. I'm just trying to understand what would be the idea. Okay, so I'm closing this because reason being is anybody who's trading trend lines, this is a break and people would see this as a test to go lower. And I don't know if that's just going to come here then go lower or come all the way up here. I think for me at the end of the day is it's all about understanding what the market's trying to tell you and try to get that mind shift as to how people would trade it and how people would get manipulated. I am not going to trade these sideways moves again like yesterday. I think we're 2 for 2, which is good. This blind here should hold price if we spike into that. Okay, so we didn't exactly get to that level. We might still go there. Okay. Let's see if we can get into that level now. There we go, there we go. Now let's see what the reaction is. Is it continuing or are we going to reject it? Okay, so we're starting to invert this. Let's call this the first. Then that eye. Here comes the volume. That is how people get trapped. And there we're gonna go to these liquidities now. There we go, liquidity and Like to see targeting this low again. Okay, let's see if we can get pretty much stuck there. Taking that liquidity there, I still think there's liquidity down here to target this low. So I would like to see price drop lower. Did not expect the pullback to going to be that deep, but obviously switch formed that fair value gap, and I thought we only going to test to this 50% of this fair value gap, which is fine. Now all we need is this to go down to those lows. And then the setup actually played out exactly how we anticipated it from earlier, and now we mapped it out. It's not always perfect, but just taking you guys through. So we made a low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then people following trend line, stops, and then we start making a high to go higher, and then boom, reverse, aggressively taking those stops out, taking these stops out. There must be some stops around here. That's why I've got my take profit right below that. And yeah, so now it's just a waiting game. We did get the pullback into the fair value gap. If you were patient enough, you would have get a nice entry here, and hopefully we don't see some sideways move going that way. And I mean, theoretically it could retrace back into here. nice push down, that would be great for us now. It's definitely momentum pushing price lower, so expecting that target to get hit anyways. Go now. Like equal lows almost. Just a little push lower. Alright, so there we go. That's the third trade. So we've been profitable on all three trades today. And I think yeah, that was, what was that last one? 2, 3, so it's 3, 5, $6,000 for today, so that's fine. I guess that's a good day, and it wasn't random trades. It was basically mapping it out how we think it will play out, and luckily it played out that way today for us. Got a little bit caught on this last trade with a bit of a drawdown, but eventually came down and hit our target. And now let's see if we can take this low out. And I don't think after this, I mean, if we see this low getting taken, it's definitely not any other trades I'm going to do. I know there's a lot of blocks and stuff here, but as I go through the live stream, talking through all of them, and yeah, I mean, we can take all of these out. Take that low. That's what I'm saying, is I'm not taking any other trades. I mean, maybe this just makes an equal low for us. There's some liquidity down here, so maybe that's where we're going. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to then say, let's wait for this low to get taken. Then I'm going to go, and I'll be back at the PM session about 1:45, just before 2. So we can trade that last hour, 2 to 3, and see what type of opportunities sits there. If there's nothing, then we'll just read price. If there's anything, we'll actually do some trading. Okay, so we're in this fair value gap now. Hopefully that one holds price to go straight in there. The other fair value gap's right up here, so it's way up there. So I don't think we're going to go straight up there unless we're going to print equal lows here. Just go there and then reverse, or smash through them. So far it's holding. Let's see. Nothing wrong with a little bit of a pullback. It's a nice reaction there. Just see if we can keep it up. Don't like the move closing so far, or closing above that. Could be just a pullback this, and it could come close back below this white candle's low, then that could be a nice scalp down to that level. but I'm not taking it. We've taken some nice trades today. In theory, because we inverted this little fair value gap, that test into that wick to that high was a good scalp, a nice scalp. But I still think we might come down, yeah. If we close below this now, I think we'll see prices going to this low at least. But what's the chance now? Mark this one out and move it along and see. So in this first fair value gap, there's a little gap here that we inverted. Take that off. If we close below this, could be a chance that we're going to target this low. But let's see. Just didn't close through it. Still think we're gonna target the 740 area. Sometimes it's just not gonna happen. Right, I actually don't think I'm gonna take any other trades. We've run all this liquidity that we've mapped out here, which was great. And now I can say this is most probably very relative. Equal lows, EQLs. So I'm going to keep an eye for that. I've got a dog barking here. And I think we've done all these equal highs, and now we're going to target something down here. Same thing's happening here, guys. High, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, boom. And then off. Okay, let's see if we can close below this white candle. Just did it. See if we can get a pullback to test. Take a short. Just make it 2000, fine. See if it plays out. Don't like the sideways move. Want to see price go lower here. Reason I took that is we spiked into this 50% of this first fair value gap, close below that white candle's low, and I still got some sort of momentum to the downside here. And now it seems like not want to play ball, and that's right at that 50% level anyways. See if we can get a push lower down here. I mean, the inducement should be to go lower because of the high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, preferably lower low, and then boom, take all this liquidity out again. See if that wick can hold to that 50%. Come on, give us that push down, not up, not up. See how that spike into that 50% again. Hopefully we can close lower. I don't know if we can get there now because it looks like price moving into a consolidating state. If we don't see that push down now. Gosh. Alright, I took a loss on that trade. I'm not going to sit because it's most probably gonna jive around here. There's equal lows down here for whenever they decide to run those, but this 50% is not holding that well, and it's past 11. It's past my trading time, so that's me for AM. I think I'm gonna move on to the PM later. I'll be back at 1:45, and yeah, then I'll see what the market leaves on the table there for us to trade. But for now, even this session, we got 1 losing trade, 3 winning trades, so we're still up for the day, and I think we're up $4,000 or something to that effect. Anyways, thanks for joining, guys. Yeah, leave comments below if you learned anything, or if you've taken a similar trade or anything to that effect. But I'll speak to you guys later, and yeah, be safe. Bye bye.